up, guys? This is episode 9 of the Jersey Shorts podcast, season 2. I'm your host, Rain, and with me here is Miguel, Juan, and Epic. What's up, guys?
What's up,
Was
guys?
good
And we'll have a Epic is back
again.
after missing out. He went on a light vacation, I think.
Always on vacation.
Always on vacation, man. I'm a busy guy. My bad. My bad.
He's got that
Yeah,
fever
yeah,
month.
yeah. His calendar's just full of appointments.
Yep.
And we'll have a light episode, or just because it's the off season and there's no basketball happening because the FIBA World Cup just ended.
Yeah.
The NBA isn't back within like another 3 weeks, I guess.
Yeah.
So we'll just have a light episode, and to start things off, it's in honor of the NFL starting off their season. Um, we all know that there have been NBA players and NFL players who started off playing two sports, two departments, like Allen Iverson.
Yeah.
I think he was a quarterback in high
He
school
was.
and also a
Yes.
point guard. Um, and even LeBron James. So with that, um, we'll each choose, let's say, a maximum of 3 players, 3 current NBA players who would do very well in the NFL,
Yeah.
in the current NFL, right? So, Miguel, you're an NFL fan. You like the San Francisco 49ers. So I'll hand the keys over to you first. Who are your picks?
Yeah. By the way, yes, 49ers had a good win today. Very happy about it. Finally, I think they finally figured out their quarterback situation because that was a little bit messy, I think, with Brock Purdy getting hurt in the playoffs last season and, Trey Lance and Garoppolo always being injured and not being able to step up. So I'm really happy that it looks like Brock Purdy is the quarterback of the future for the Niners. So I'm very, very happy Niners fan. And yeah, we won against the Rams today. That's like 9 straight wins over the Rams over the last
Yeah.
9 seasons. So that makes me very happy. And just moving on to who I think are NBA players who would do well in the NFL. I think Russell Westbrook
Oh,
at maybe
yeah.
running back,
Ooh.
or he's
Oh.
He's got a bulldozer run.
yeah, he's gonna be amazing because he's got a motor that just keeps on
Yeah.
going, and
Yeah.
he's actually quite powerful. So as
He's
an
Jordan
offensive
as well.
weapon, yeah. So those legs of Westbrook, man, very powerful, very very athletic guy.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, maybe
So for
at
those,
running back or receiver. Yeah.
yeah, for those like people who are not aware what a running back is, Miguel, why don't you explain what position or what are the responsibilities of that position?
Well, they usually, let's just say they line up behind the quarterback, and
Yeah,
they're mostly responsible for just taking the ball and running it up, you know,
Yeah.
just running
like
away
from
with
a
it,
handoff
trying to,
standpoint.
yeah, from a handoff. Sometimes it could be from a, I've seen some screens where the running back would receive it. I've seen some plays where, the running back comes up the gut and receives a pass. It really depends. There's NFL playbooks, they are quite
So
diverse, and
complicated.
they,
Oh my
they
god.
are quite
Oh
complicated.
my god.
I used to play a lot of Madden, and sometimes when I change teams, I'm like, I don't understand what the plays are, where the plays that I'm used to. That's why, like, I usually run with like 1 or 2 teams when I play Madden because I get used to the playbook, and that's just it. So yeah, but yeah, running back
Yeah,
sometimes they could actually receive the ball, like for example, like since we're talking about the Niners, McCaffrey is actually one of the better running backs who could also double as a receiver. He does really well with
yeah,
doing
yeah.
that, but that's just one example. Another NBA guy who could wait. Should I go or should someone else give a
Let
pick
us
and then?
go
I mean, you
first.
can name
Yeah,
you can
I'll
name
just
all
let
3.
I let Juan
Yeah,
go
yeah.
then because he looks ready.
Okay, I think
No,
Juan
if,
has
if
his picks.
if he gives 3, then he names one of my picks, then I have to think about it, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah,
Oh yeah, that makes sense. So
right.
Juan, so that you don't run any, you don't run out of options. Why don't you tell us what's on your mind?
Well, my pick is Kawhi Leonard. I think
Ooh.
he will be a really good tight end because of his body and because of his hands. He can just receive. He's gonna be like a Kelsey guy, right? So
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
it's powerful. But the only downside of that is if one hit and he's out.
Out for the season. It's like minimum of 15
Yeah,
games.
Yeah.
yeah, right. But his hands, his athleticism, and his strength would make him a really good tight end, I think. So that's my pick. I'm not gonna say I'm a huge NFL guy, but I've been watching it for a few years now. Uh, I understand the rules, but playbook, the plays, just so it's so complicated. So I just watch and enjoy it.
Yeah.
So so that's my pick, Kawhi, for as a tight end.
That's a good pick. Uh, so let's go to Epic. Who do you have in mind?
I'm not really an NFL guy. I'm not a football guy even. So like, I don't know the
Hey, same here,
positions. I
man.
don't know the rules or anything aside from like quarterback. But I am very much intrigued with the sport. So like, I feel like just based on my perception of football, you need to have like, raw strength. You need to have like power and the
Yeah.
physique and everything. So for my pick, I gotta go with a healthy Zion Williamson. I
Oh,
mean, Zion is
Ooh,
buff as hell,
that's
dude. Like
that's
seriously,
a good pick.
seriously, like
That's solid
he
pick,
could just
man.
run over anybody. You know what I mean? And he could like literally kill anyone on that field if he wanted to. Of course, he's not gonna do
He's
that.
gonna be he's gonna be like
Yeah,
a faster Aaron Donald with that frame. Dang.
I'm not familiar, but yeah, there you go. That's my pick.
Yeah.
My bad. For all
okay.
you
Wow.
football fans, please do not hate me because yeah, it's not my thing. I'm sorry.
Aaron
Hey,
Donald's
man,
a defensive guy,
we're in
so
this together.
and he's huge as Zion, I think, but even maybe taller. Zion's taller,
Yeah,
but they have
Oh, okay.
the same frame.
yeah, yeah.
That's a yeah. Zion would have made a big football
Football
guy,
guy. If he decided
offensive and
to.
defensive. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. So, for me, um, this one I think, as a tight end, or no, a running back. As a running back, I think Giannis Antetokounmpo would do well. I mean, look at him, man. If he
He's
receives the
huge.
ball from a handoff from a quarterback, there's no way you can chase him. There's no way you can get the ball from him. He has massive hands. He's got length. He's got athleticism. He'll outrun everybody. He'll overpower everybody. So just seeing him wearing a football gear would look odd, because if he's in terms of, like, based on what you see with him, he looks like a lanky guy, but he's buff. He's buff, and I think he's got this shack strength,
Hmm. Yeah.
so he can like overpower anyone. And once he gets that ball and he runs with it, it's game over for the other team. There's no one stopping him, unless, of course, I don't know, the sky falls, maybe. So, but yeah, that's my choice. It's Giannis Antetokounmpo for a running back. What about you, Miguel? Who else do you have in mind?
Thinking more in the direction of like an offensive lineman who would protect your quarterback while they stay in the
Yeah.
pocket. Someone who's quite powerful, and they could also double as like some sort of protection because when you get your shorter running backs, sometimes they disappear behind your tall linemen and they're able to sneak forward and gain like solid yardage. And I think Steven
Mm-hmm.
Adams would do well as a
Ooh, I
as
was
an
thinking
offensive
about him.
lineman,
Man, you're just
right?
bringing the
I don't think.
OKC boys back together at this point.
Yeah, that's for
Oh,
sure. Everyone
With
just coming.
his third pick is
Okay,
gonna be like Serge Ibaka.
no. But I mean,
oh,
Steven Adams, man, very very powerful guy, right? He's one of the strongest
strongest
people in
guy.
the
Yeah.
NBA, and I think your defensive rushers, your guys who try to get a sack or try to stop your guys from behind line of scrimmage, they won't be able to get past someone like Steven Adams easily, and he'll be able to mask some plays because of his height as well. I mean, you have tall linemen in the tall offensive linemen in the NFL. You have guys who go up to 6'10",
Oh,
but
interesting.
I don't know. I don't know how tall is Steven Adams.
He's seven
He's
feet,
like
He's
but
six
yeah,
eleven.
7 feet tall.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think
Yeah,
we've
yeah.
ever had a guy who's been 7 feet tall who was a lineman or
Imagine the
you
coverage
know
he'll get
yeah the
because of
coverage
his just
he'll
his
be able to
size.
just I think he'll do well. I mean, there'll be some problems maybe when he's trying to deal with shorter
And faster.
rushers.
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, shorter, faster guys. But when it comes to strength, I wouldn't line him up at center because I'm afraid that the quarterback won't be able to see over him and won't be able to see his receivers downfield. But maybe the right guard or the left guard or one of the tackle positions. I think Steven Adams would do well.
That's a good pick. I think aside from the obvious, which is Zion Williamson, I think we were all thinking about Steven Adams.
Yes.
Selecting him just because of his characteristics,
Yeah.
physical
Yeah.
attributes.
Yeah, correct.
Um so Juan, who else do you think would do well?
I think as a Warriors fan, I'm gonna take
I
Draymond
knew it.
Green.
I knew it.
I knew it.
I
I knew
knew
it.
it.
I knew it.
He knows how to hurt people, and
He does. He does.
in terms of football terms, I think he would make a good free safety because he knows
Oh,
how to read defenses. Right, he's a defensive masterclass in terms of a defensive master in terms of that in terms of basketball. And if you give him a playbook or if he played football, I think he would be a really good free safety. He's athletic enough to do the position. He's smart enough to probably learn the playbook, and he's just gonna injure people. Yeah,
There's
the
a
right way.
Draymond
yeah, he
Green.
will
There
definitely.
is a Draymond Green highlight. He suited up
Yeah.
for a Michigan in football as a I think as a tight end. And on his very first
In
play as a tight
college,
end, yeah, in college with
He
Michigan,
got it.
yeah, with the Spartans, he got flagged for a false start. Everyone was still like waiting on line. So when you get called for a false start, it's when you start from the line of scrimmage before everyone else. The first
Yeah,
person who needs to snap the first action that needs to happen at the start of a play is always the center snapping the ball to
yeah,
whoever's behind him,
yeah.
quarterback or whatever.
quarterback.
But there's this highlight or low light, I guess,
Low
of
light.
Draymond
Yeah,
Green
call
just
it a low
getting a
light.
false start because he just started. He rushed forward and no one else was moving yet. He got called. Look, it's hilarious, man.
I think
That's hilarious.
I think he got into a feud with a member of the football team early in his career. They were going back
Yeah.
and forth, and I think Draymond eventually punched the guy when they met. So he falls perfectly in terms
Yeah,
of being physical, right? So
that's on brand for Draymond Green.
yeah,
That is like that's what you would expect from Draymond
yeah.
Green.
I think it happened at a bar in Michigan. So I think I read it way before, probably when he starting for the Warriors, and the fame got
Yeah.
into his.
All right. So Epic. How about you?
Man, I gotta be real with you guys. Like I don't feel like I belong in this episode. I should have opted to just play basketball
No.
and left you guys to do this episode. Oh man, okay. I can't give like an in-depth analysis the way Miguel and Juan are doing it, but
Give a think, and we'll do the
I mean,
analysis for it.
Yeah, well, good for it.
based on the trend, and based on previous history, since guys like Allen Iverson used to be like the stars of their football
Yeah.
teams in high school. I think if we're gonna go with that direction, I gotta go with Ja Morant because
Oh,
if we're
Ooh.
talking about like
Good.
explosiveness, since Miguel did mention Westbrook being explosive, Ja Morant.
explosiveness.
Oh, explosive! Bang, 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 bang.
Nice, nice,
That's
nice.
a different type
That's a
of
different, yeah, exactly.
explosiveness.
It's a different type of, but you know what I mean. So if that is
Yeah,
essential in football, then I feel like John Morant fits the bill. And at the same time, I
yeah.
don't know what position did AI play back then.
Like quarterback.
So he
Quarterback.
might be a good
But
quarterback
but
because of his like.
but he was a
Okay, go
he,
go.
he runs. He's a quarterback.
Yeah, a
He runs.
scrambling type quarterback.
Uh,
Yeah. Okay,
I think
Michael Vick. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. John Moran, I think, yeah, I was thinking Michael Vick, but a more recent, for people who don't know who Michael Vick is, a more
It's,
recent
Lamar.
comparison would be Lamar Jackson.
Yeah, Lamar
I think
Jackson.
because he's going to be. I think John Moran is so athletic that he could play any of the offensive positions, or he
Yeah,
could even be a
that's true.
cornerback or a defensive
oh,
back,
okay.
That's true.
wherein he could read your defenses and cover your wide
So
receivers. So
basically,
I
Morant
think Morant is
can
one of those guys who, yeah, he
play
could
every
play any
position.
of the
Okay.
positions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, there you go.
You know what's
That's my pick.
funny?
I think Moran would work best as a running back because his change of direction is crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, he has
Yeah.
that quick step like to the left. It's
Yeah.
he's crazy in terms of when he's going one speed, he can change direction in an instant, and you need that in a running back. But yeah, I agree with
Yeah.
Miguel. If Ja played football, he would have been perfect anywhere in the offensive in terms of running back, quarterback, a wide receiver, or he said a cornerback as well. But he'd
You know
play
what's
playing defense.
you know what's funny? As I googled Allen Iverson football position, and it says combo guard. So yeah, just want to share that. It says combo guard. Google says combo guard. So I don't know. I find it hilarious actually. But anyway, so for my second pick, this is interesting because I think a free safety would be a perfect position for a player like Drew Holiday. Like he's capable enough to chase guys and chase wide receivers, I guess. I mean, he can lock down the best of the best offensive players in the NBA, and he's intelligent. He knows not to make errors on the court. And I mean, if you look at him in his like workouts, he's got massive legs. You see his thighs, his calves. It's like it's monstrous. I tell you, and I think he'll do well as a free safety. I'm not really familiar with who are the famous free safety guys, but I think he'll do well in that position. So, what about you, Miguel? This is the last round. Last round.
Wow. It's funny that Epic would say that I'm just bringing like the OKC guys
So,
to
are
the
you gonna
NFL.
name another one?
I think. I think.
Because I'm just
I
gonna
think
bring,
so.
yeah, because I'm just going to bring Lou Dort as a defensive back. I think he'd do well. He'd
Oh,
do
okay.
great as a secondary. You're not sure, like he could just read your offense and come out of nowhere rushing at you. This isn't even like an idea that I had. I just heard. I don't remember which analyst it was like said that he was built like a linebacker or as a
Oh,
secondary, and I looked at Lou Dort and was like, that's kind of true. I mean, his body type,
he's huge. Yeah.
he's huge, so he could stop your running backs or your receivers. He could, yeah. I think he'd be good on the secondary, on defense for an NFL team just because of that power. So, yeah, you got me there. I'm just picking the
Okay, see,
OKC guy.
okay, see, guys.
That's what
So
it
for
is.
Miguel, it's just basically the
Yeah,
Thunder. Yeah,
Yeah.
basically the
OKC
OKC Thunder
Thunder.
coming to the
That's it.
NFL.
Okay, Juan. Last pick.
Last pick. I'm thinking of someone who could be a good cornerback, and I can only think of one name, Patrick Beverly, because
Mm.
he has to cornerbacks has to be pesky. They have to be really, they know how to read defenses, and they know how to get in the skin of opposing wide receivers. And I think once some if Patrick Beverly picks like someone like Brady, he's gonna talk trash him like for a week, or he's gonna talk about it for the rest of his career. So yeah, I
Yeah.
think he would make a good cornerback. And he's tall too. He's about 6'2", 6'2", 6'3". Maybe a young Pat Bev, not this old one, because
The
he's
Rockets
Yeah,
just,
one.
young
The
yeah,
Pat,
Rockets
man.
one.
yeah,
Yeah.
he's gonna get burned.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like somehow I'm not disagreeing with you. I feel like Pat Bev would be a good cornerback, but at the same time, I feel like Pat Beverly would be prone to getting called for defensive interference all the time, just because he
Yeah,
can't get his hands on numbers. So in the
yeah,
NFL, if
he's gonna get a lot of flags.
yeah, can't touch a receiver. if the ball isn't at their hands yet or something like that. There's a
Yeah, yeah.
certain amount of contact that you could have. Like you
You could
can't
just
target the receiver,
you could just block them, their
just
view,
block
right?
you
Yeah,
could block their view, but you can't really, you can't really tackle them or put them to the ground before
until
they've
they
caught the
yeah
ball.
receive the ball.
So,
Yeah,
I feel like Pat Bev would be prone to getting a defensive interference flag all the time just because I don't know. It's just something
it's
I feel like would happen. Yeah.
All right. Epic. Last pick.
Oh, hmm. Honestly, I would just throw a random name that I feel like at least. So we went with the physical guy. We went with a skinny guy. I feel like okay, I want to like infuse someone who's annoying but also skinny and fast at the same time. Since I noticed
who's
Juan
that?
went with like
Who
Draymond
would
and
that
he
be,
went
though?
with Pat
Who'd
Bev.
that be?
So now I think Dennis Schroeder might be a good pick. He's
Ooh.
swift and he's
Oh,
annoying
why
as
you
Yeah,
hell, bro.
Schroeder, good. Yeah.
ah, okay, all
Yeah,
right,
he's
yeah.
swift and annoying as hell. Like he could just get in the face of anybody and just like smile and just like yeah, you know what I
Every
mean?
touchdown
Yeah.
and be like,
Exactly.
Yeah.
Make those celebrations. I don't know. It's a random pick really at this point. I'm yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
that's all right.
I
Since we
see
haven't,
him as a good
yeah,
running back though,
oh,
or
well,
quarterback.
we haven't done a quarterback, so I'm gonna put Schroeder quarterback just for the sake of it,
Oh,
Just for the
because
sake of having
he's
quarterback.
he has great size. I think his hands probably can palm the ball, and I don't
yeah,
know about his arm strength, but you need to have that. But in terms
yeah.
of a build, I think he has the size for a quarterback. I just don't know about the court vision because he's like the flashy plays. So
Yeah.
he's gonna be turnover prone, and he's gonna be a backup next season.
We have to make it up to Epic on our next episode and choose a topic that only he can
Yeah.
discuss.
I
Because
later,
we've left him out of place
Gaming,
this
NBA
I
2K24.
Laker centric
Oh yeah. So maybe episode
episode.
yeah, maybe episode 10 would be about like the best basketball game or whatever. At least everyone can like talk
Yeah,
about it.
exactly.
Um, so to end this NFL
Yes,
segment, or
please.
I don't
Please
know
end it
if
now.
it's a segment. Okay, I am choosing for for Epic's sake. I'm choosing Jimmy Butler as I see him as a wide receiver. He's quick.
Nice, crafty.
He has enough verticality to catch passes, and he's got the body to fend off the defenders and whatever. So I think he'd do well in the football field. So enough of the NFL.
Yes.
Let's go back to
Yes.
our comfort
Yes.
zone,
Yes. Yes.
just the basketball scene. Basketball's it's what we do. It's what we know.
It's what
Um,
I know.
it's what most of us know. Yeah, yeah. You and me both, brother. Because I was just that whole NFL segment. I was faking it. Um, but
You just had a little more knowledge
uh,
compared to me, so that
yeah.
was your advantage. I
Thank
got
you to
nothing.
thank you to Madden and Blitz Overtime. Remember that video game?
Yeah.
Oh wow. Um, so let's go back to basketball. The year is 2013. Um, well, not now, but it's the 10-year anniversary of the 2013 NBA draft, which is one of the most interesting draft classes of all time in the NBA because you've got great players from outside of the lottery who have blossomed into decent players. You have busts. You have uh, players who had like great origin stories and whatever. So, in honor of this draft class, we will choose three best players and the three worst players. So it doesn't matter if you repeat the player or the player you think fits that criteria is already picked. You can pick him again as long as you give a different argument, maybe, or kind of add another argument to what has already been said, if you agree with it. So, Epic, I'll make it up to you. I don't know if you're ready, so you
Uh,
can go ahead and choose your
yeah, yeah,
top
yeah.
three
I
worst,
mean,
I guess. Let's start
worst.
with the
We're
worst
gonna start
ones.
with the worst. Damn. I wasn't
Or
ready with
or
worst.
Who do you want?
go,
Who do you
go.
want to
We can
go
circle.
the best first?
I can go
Yeah, we
best
can
The worst
circle.
first.
and the worst.
I think we should exclude
It's
Giannis
easy.
because Giannis is already
What?
given.
Well, true.
Giannis is
Yeah, it's
already
true.
Yeah,
given. Just to
yeah,
be different.
It's
Giannis.
true.
Just to be different.
Yeah. Well, there's no debate that Giannis is
Yeah,
the best
absolutely.
He's the goat
the
of
best
this
pick of the
draft
draft.
class
Obviously.
for
Yeah,
sure.
for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, great idea there. So
I guess. All right. This is a hot take. I'm gonna bring this player up again. I'll have to go with.
hmm
Oh wait, did I miss it? Oh, I think I misread it. My bad. Was Dennis Schroeder here?
Nemanja Nedovic. No, just kidding.
yeah,
Yeah,
sure.
yeah, Schroeder was here.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, Schroeder was
17th.
I'm a
picked like
bring.
17.
17.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm gonna
17.
bring up. Yeah,
That's
Dennis
why
Schroeder. There
we're
we go.
17.
So Dennis Schroeder
Alright.
is one of the best players in my opinion for this draft class. Just because, like, okay, if we're talking about NBA, definitely I know he's one of the most solid role players. But if we're gonna be talking, like, especially in the FIBA scene, man, like everything that he's accomplished in
Oh,
the FIBA scene,
it's
it's
different.
different.
It's so
So
different FIBA.
I gotta give credit where credit is due, man. Like, oh, outside the NBA, basketball is still basketball. End of the day, the achievements, the way he carried Team Germany, like it's like he's a different person in FIBA. Actually, that applies to a lot of
Yeah.
international players. Really, like
Yes.
Valanciunas, guys like Vucevic. They all suddenly become, superstars at the level of like LeBron James all of a sudden out of nowhere. You know what I mean? So, like, if we're gonna look at his accolades in the FIBA scene, I think Dennis Schroeder definitely deserves a huge shout out on my list.
That's
Yeah.
good. That's a good pick. Juan, you go first. Next, I guess.
All right. So I'm just gonna make it simple, and Giannis is the best power forward of the draft, and we can argue that Schroeder is probably the best point guard of the draft. So I'm gonna
Yeah.
go with probably the one one of three All Stars from the class, and I don't know if people would like this pick because it's Rudy Gobert, but Rudy Gobert
I
is the
know,
second
yeah.
best, the second best player of this draft,
Yeah.
since he's a three-time defensive player
Yeah,
of the
yeah.
year, even though he has no post moves,
Yeah.
Yeah, he does.
right?
I think he's a three-time All-Star as well, right?
Probably three or two,
And a
and
one-time crybaby.
the one that when he cried, he's a three-time All Star.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the
Yeah.
he cried when he didn't make it, and he started
Yeah, he did.
in the NBA. So not a good resume in terms of that. That's why fans don't like him. He basically shut down the NBA. He's got no post moves, right? But
No post moves.
in terms of uh accolades, and he's a really good player. He's one of the best defensive centers of all time. But the Warriors just exposed him during their series a few years back, uh, and basically last season proved that it's hard for him to have another center, right, with Cat, although they
Yeah.
didn't have, right. But in terms of just being a solid big man, uh, accolades,
He's got it. Yeah.
and yeah, he's also got that international accolades as well. So yeah, I'm gonna choose Gobert, and I got no more compliments for him, but that's my pick.
All right. What about Miguel? Who do you have?
I'm going to say he might fly under a lot of people's radar simply because he hasn't been named like an all-star. He hasn't really won
Oh,
at
I
the
feel like
highest
I already
level,
know
but
who
I
you're
think
going
he's
with.
one of the best I guess sidekicks in the
Yeah,
NBA
I
so far.
think I
But
do
CJ
know.
McCollum,
Yeah,
man,
I
CJ
knew it.
McCollum
CCJ.
and
Wow,
yeah, I
I
mean
knew it.
a
nice.
lot of
That's a
people
good pick.
might just forget about him because he hasn't really been
I
named
overlooked
to you know he hasn't
overlooked him.
hasn't received a lot of personal accolades. But here's the thing: I think he does well with allowing another player just you
Yeah.
know be the star for the team, which is what happened with Portland with Damian Lillard. And I'm not saying that he's better than Lillard or anything like that, but I'm just saying that if you want a team where, since offense is such a big focus in the NBA, if you want a team that's, super offensive focused, and you want a secondary star who could share the ball with your primary guy, your primary ball handler, or your primary option on offense, CJ McCollum, man, for sure.
Yeah.
That's a
Great
good
pick.
pick.
Great pick.
For me, I'm going with the other All Star who
Okay.
from this draft, the guy who can sing and dunk on the court,
Yeah.
Victor Oladipo.
Yeah.
No one can do it better than him. Sing New York and then dunk with a Black Panther mask. That's amazing.
Mhm.
You gotta admit it's impressive. Um,
Of course.
so
Yeah.
I just feel bad that he's had to suffer these injuries because
Oh,
with the Pacers, he
he was a
definitely
beast.
reached his
He was
potential,
a beast
and
with the Pacers.
yeah, he was a beast. So I was hoping he'd be a star for more than 2 seasons, but of course, unfortunately, his
Injuries.
injuries.
Yeah, injuries is really what it was for
But
him.
in hindsight, if you look at this draft, he I think he still deserves that lottery pick or that top 5 pick.
For sure.
For me
For
at
sure.
least.
Yeah.
For sure.
Okay, Epic. How about this time you pick a bad player from this draft?
Well, dude,
You
I've
know
been looking at the
everything.
best players, man. Bad player. Jeez.
Oh, you know who's the pick.
I
You know who's the gonna. You
I mean,
you
I,
need to
I
pick.
mean, I have to go with Anthony Bennett. He's a bust, man.
Yeah.
And
Whoa!
I don't think
Certified
I
bum.
don't think I
Oh
have to
no.
even explain myself at this point. Like, bro, you're the no. He's literally the next Kwame Brown. You know what I mean? Like Kwame
Yeah,
Brown was
yeah, yeah.
overhyped and
Yeah,
everything.
yeah, yeah.
First pick
He's worse than
and then
Kwame.
flopped.
No,
Same thing happened with
I'd
Bennett.
like to defend Kwame
All right,
Brown.
go,
Yeah, he's
go
worse
for it.
than
Go for it.
Kwame.
Go for it.
No.
I'd like to defend Kwame Brown. At least Kwame Brown stayed and had a decent career, as a role
Yeah,
player. But this guy just stayed in, 4 seasons
and then
in
that's
the
it.
NBA
He's
and
just
just
gone.
fell off the league.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he's
just
He,
gone. He just
he's
ditched.
playing overseas.
So,
He's playing
he
somewhere
played for
else.
so
seasons.
give.
He didn't. He barely played in the last two.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Yeah, he didn't. Yeah.
yeah.
So give credit where credit is due. But they're both busts. But Anthony Bennett is a bigger bust.
Yeah, definitely.
You have to look at Anthony Bennett's summer league highlights, man. That was elite.
You look
That
He
like
was
had us fooled.
you look like grandmama.
Yeah, for a while we thought, we were like,
Yeah,
oh my
yeah.
God, Anthony
very
Bennett is
true.
proving the critics wrong, because when he got drafted, we were like, oh, he doesn't deserve it.
Mm,
He's going to be one of the weakest number one overall picks of all
yeah.
time. And then
It
summer
was.
league came around, and he was amazing. He was incredible. And then the actual
And
NBA
then he
season
fell
where
off.
it
That's it.
actually
Yeah.
mattered arrived, and then none of it,
You know
none
what?
of it
He
showed up.
A fun fact: he didn't make a field goal until like I don't know his
Fifth game. I
15th
think
Oh,
game.
I didn't know this.
No, fifth. Fifth. I think fifth game.
For
For
real,
fifth
it
game.
took that
Fifth game. I'm
long.
sorry, not 15th.
Fifth game.
Fifth
Yeah.
game. Fifth game.
Damn,
I'm not sure, but it took a while. It took him a while to get his shot up.
that's how long it
So
took.
I do like that pick.
Juan, go for it.
Okay, Juan, who's your worst? Who's your worst player?
Well, I'm just gonna defend Anthony Bennett a little bit. Uh,
You can't do that, bro.
I
There's
no, no,
nothing to defend.
no. I think he's one of the worst busts ever. Probably top 3. But it didn't help that he was drafted by Cleveland. You have to blame
I
Cleveland as
mean,
well.
I mean, they
Why?
were a tanking team.
Exactly.
They were a tanking team. They had Kyrie Irving, Tristan Thompson, Deion
The
Waiters, and
Invaders.
this guy.
Yeah.
Still, he wasn't supposed to be a first pick too.
Yeah,
And it doesn't help that, all I can remember from him was, wow, from Bill Simmons when he was drafted. So, but
Well, yeah.
I think it would have helped if he was drafted on a different team. It would have helped,
Yeah.
probably.
Yeah, he could have been drafted by the Cavs, but with the 31st pick. Maybe.
Yeah,
I don't know.
something like that.
And
yeah.
we wouldn't,
But for
judge
my
him if he was picked 31st.
for
Yeah.
my pick, uh, no, Shabazz Muhammad was really good when he had the playing time, but
It was tough
yeah,
playing against him in the 2K games, though. Shabazz Muhammad.
and I'm looking at this, Nate Walters.
So many
No,
bad players.
I'm gonna give it to a former Warrior named Mahnan Nedovic. He was the backup
Okay, one
point
season.
guard.
Yeah.
He was a backup point guard for the Warriors, I think before. No, I think he won a championship. No,
He got
wait.
a ring.
He,
Wait, I'll check.
did
I'll
he? I
check.
don't.
Oh, he didn't get a
No, it
ring. He
didn't.
didn't get a ring. Yeah,
He play like 1 year in the NBA
yeah,
or
yeah,
something.
yeah. He was the back. I mean, not backup's backup
The
from
backup's
twenty
backup.
four the 2014 team, and
Yeah,
the Warriors haven't had success drafting point guards and stuff. So, but he wasn't drafted by the Warriors. But see, ever since Steph, the Warriors have sucked at giving him a backup point guard, and
a decent one.
yeah, a real decent one. They, Chris Paul now, who is
I don't think he's gonna be
start.
a backup though.
How
Yeah,
would
he'll
they
start.
line up, man? How would they line up with
It
Chris
will be
Paul?
funny. You have Chris Paul at point guard and Steph at the two, and then Clay at the three, Wiggins at the
Against the
four.
four,
Then you
Draymond
want
or
to
I
five.
don't know about that lineup.
because Steve
No,
Kerr loves small ball, so we
true,
might
but
just see this lineup happen
true,
out of
but
nowhere.
Chris Paul and Draymond don't have that they play the same kind of way in terms of
Yeah,
playmaking. It's
Yeah,
I think Kerr would try that in the first 5 games, and they go 1-4. He's gonna bench Paul. He's gonna.
I think they'd go 2-3 the first 5 games with that lineup.
I,
Okay,
I am
Miguel, who's your
I'm
pick?
checking the schedule yet.
next it's the worst guy, huh? It's harder to pick the worst guy because
Right?
there's so
Right?
many of them. I feel like you look at this, it's like
Yeah,
they're
it's
all.
just so
I
bad.
feel like there's like 4 or 5 guys who belong on the good list, and then everyone else just falls on like
Bad
the
list.
bad
Yeah.
list.
And
Yeah, but
Alan Crab is here as well.
yeah, man. Okay. I would say maybe Nerlens Noel, just
Oh,
because Nerlens Noel was projected to go number one, right?
Yeah,
For a
yeah,
while, it was
yeah.
like Nerlens Noel is going to go number one. He's going to, he's going to be.
he was compared to AD
Yeah, he was being
when he was
compared to
going.
AD. He
Yeah,
was. Everyone thought he was going to be a superstar, and just because of those projections and where he ended up, the league barely played games in the NBA. Bounced around. Questionable decision by Philly to trade for him because I think they traded
they
like,
trade Drew.
yeah, Drew
They trade
Holiday.
Drew.
So
Yeah, for him,
it was crazy because Drew Holiday was coming off his first
All Star.
All Star nod, and then
Yeah,
suddenly he was getting traded for
Nerlens Noel.
Nerlens Noel, and it just shows how bad Philly is at drafting because just
Well,
around
it,
Nerlens Noel they got Embiid and they also had Jaleel Okafor. So like these are like three centers that they
centers.
have on your
Yeah,
team.
they
So you're
did
like,
have that at one point.
yeah,
It's ink is special, man.
yeah, man, it's crazy.
And
Nerlens Noel.
from what I from what I remember, they had a bunch of wings who couldn't shoot, like
Yeah,
with
for
Jalil
a while,
Okafor,
man.
Nerlens Noel. You know, um, so it's my turn. For me as a Phoenix fan, I have to say this: it's Alex
Just
Len because this pick made me question my loyalty. Like, dude averaged 2 points in his first season. He could even shoot, bro. Like, at least he got his he redeemed himself with Atlanta, but of course, as a fifth pick, he couldn't live up to expectations and stuff. He was um I don't. I think he should have been drafted in the second round, honestly. But it's good that he's been in the league for 10 years. Yeah, 10 years now. Incredible career, I guess, but just not worth it. He's not worthy of being drafted with the fifth pick. Um, okay, we don't have much time left. Okay, so we will do kind of like a redraft. I told you guys about this beforehand, right? That
right.
we'll
Yeah,
do
yeah,
a light redraft. Um,
So it's gonna be the snake.
so
Gonna goes a snake. I mean, who's gonna be the first two, three, 1, 2, 3, 4?
no, no, no. Well, I'll just go and tell you my five because it's
Ah,
gonna
all
be a
right, all right,
redraft, right?
all right.
yeah.
So how will you arrange the top five, given how 10 years since then,
Yeah.
they've proven themselves, or they've that they're worth it, or they're a bust. So the top five picks. Okay. Um, So for the first pick, I'll go ahead first, so you guys can kind of think about your lineups, your five best players. I think it's gonna be obvious that we all have the same first pick,
Anthony Bennett.
right? So
Bear.
no, with the first pick, the Cleveland Cavaliers. Yeah, how I just want to say in 2K14 NBA 2K14, no matter how great of a game the my player plays, he still gets a first pick, so it's like annoying. So for me, with the first pick, the Cleveland Cavaliers select Giannis Antetokounmpo, obviously. And then the Orlando Magic will have another towering big man at the second with the second pick for Rudy Gobert. So that's 1 and 2, right?
Hmm.
And for the third pick, I just think the Washington Wizards should have drafted um, CJ McCollum. Yeah, CJ McCollum. And then for the fourth pick, uh, the Charlotte Hornets could have, but they already had Kemba Walker at the time, so they could have gotten another big man who would have helped him, in terms of like leading that franchise to significant wins. So I'd say Steven Adams with the fourth pick. I know it's too high, but just in terms of situations, and with the fifth pick because it's Phoenix and I'm a Phoenix fan. I'll
Giannis.
get Victor Oladipo.
Giannis gets drafted
Giannis.
twice.
Yeah, you'll play for two teams, sir. Here you go, two hats. So yeah, so that's my five. My top five is Giannis, Rudy Gobert, CJ McCollum, Steven Adams, and then um, Victor Oladipo. Okay, Juan, you go next.
All right. So probably 1 and 2 would the same for me. So Giannis at number one is going to team up with Kyrie, and LeBron is not
Just
coming back
imagine.
if Giannis was there.
Yeah.
Yeah, just imagine
Yeah.
though.
Second pick I think is for the Magic. So it was post Dwight Howard. So Gobert
Yep.
would have been perfect for them. Uh, then the Wizards. Do they already have like Bill and Wall, right? They already have Bill
I
and
think
Wall.
Wall was already
That's why
there.
They did. They did.
I think they already
Bill
have
was
both of them.
drafted like 2012, like a year
Yeah,
before
yeah.
this draft, right?
Yeah.
So that's why they went with Otto Porter.
Yeah.
So they needed a small forward. Uh, whose small forward would be he? The third, the third pick. Dang,
Definitely not
it's
Solomon
tough.
Hill.
I mean, McCollum would have been buried off the bench. So,
Yeah, but imagine he would have been a great sixth man though.
yeah. Damn, they don't have really great small forwards in the draft. Mm.
Yeah, they don't. I mean, I
But
guess you could consider KCP as a small
yeah,
forward.
yeah, small
Yeah.
forward.
Isn't it
But in
Porter?
terms of, so I'm not gonna go with fit since it's gonna be it's either CJ or Oladipo. And in
Mm-hmm.
terms of skill set, I think CJ is much
Then
better in
trade
terms of
Bradley Beal.
career. Yeah.
Yeah.
Or they could have turned CJ into one of the best six men
Yeah.
because he's got that shooting, he's got that streakiness into his game. So I'll go third pick for him in Washington. Then Charlotte Bobcats at number four. They already have Kemba. I think 2011 was Kemba. So man,
Yeah.
the Hornets have so much bad picks
Michael
over the
Jordan.
man. But in terms of talent, I think Oladipo would be number four. Who's your number
Mm.
four? I think you picked Adams, right? For your four.
Yeah, I picked Adams.
So for Phoenix, man, this 2014 Phoenix Suns. Do they have book? They don't have book yet, right?
Not yet.
They didn't have book yet.
Who
They
who
don't
was
have
the
book.
star of Phoenix at the time?
Yeah.
Brandon Knight and then Eric Bledsoe.
It's
Eric
that's
Bledsoe.
like
Yeah, those
Bledsoe,
were the Eric
Bledsoe.
Bledsoe
Yeah.
years.
Right.
this is the Hornacek years. This is the Hornacek
Yeah,
Sad
years.
years.
yeah.
Man,
Sad years.
uh, mm, man, they needed they man the Suns sucked back then.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Uh,
Thanks.
but for the fifth pick, probably Schroeder. I'll go number 5 for Schroeder. So you have Giannis, Gobert, CJ, Depot, and Schroeder for the first 5 picks. And I'm just gonna give Pelicans Steven Adams as a shout out. There you go.
That's a good one. Um, Epic. You go third.
I think okay, this is gonna be controversial. I'm gonna be a little bit different with my first pick because
Woo!
yeah.
Interesting.
I'm gonna be a little bit different with my first pick just because
Anthony Bennett again.
yeah,
He's gonna
it's gonna be
Anthony
Anthony
Bennett.
Bennett. I'm
Again.
sorry, guys.
It's LeBron the home.
Dude, all right, no, exactly. So I was about to get to that. I still want LeBron to get back. So, you know, in order for that
So
to
you guys,
happen, they need to draft a non-forward. So I think my number one pick would have been CJ McCollum. So imagine Kyrie at point,
Ooh.
McCollum at the 2, LeBron at the 3. Dude, that would have been wow. You know what I mean? Unstoppable.
Yeah.
Imagine like peak
no, no.
McCollum during his Portland days. Standing side by side with Kyrie and LeBron, dude. I don't know how many championships
No
they would
defense.
win. Well, I don't know how the GM would get some
That
defense.
doesn't have any
We're
defense.
just talking about like offense in general. So those three, they'll be
Yeah.
like the next big three after the
Deadly.
Heatles. So I'll go with CJ McCollum first, and then the post Dwight Howard era, they'll be taken
Oh,
over
yeah,
by
yes.
Giannis. They'll be taken over by Giannis.
Ooh.
Giannis.
Giannis will be leaving after 4 years.
What was that? My bad.
Giannis will be leaving after 4 years.
Yeah, most likely. Most likely.
I think that's how bad Orlando is.
And then number 3 would be Rudy Gobert. They would need a big man since they had the 2 guards. Charlotte. Jeez. Damn.
What a terrible
Yeah.
team.
I mean, they had
Just give-
Kemba.
Give Ben.
I guess I have to agree with Rain's pick, so I'll go Steven Adams. Steven Adams goes to
Ah.
Charlotte. And then number 5, well, since they had Bledsoe at the time, I do want to throw in Schroeder, but just because I'll go with Oladipo. I'll go with Oladipo.
Okay.
Yeah. That's
Oh,
my 5.
good pick. Okay, Miguel, you go last. Tell us your top 5.
Yeah, I mean, at number 1, there's no question. It's Anthony Bennett. I mean, no, Giannis Antetokounmpo, right? Yeah, this is Anthony Bennett, man. Just keep going.
That's
man.
official. That's official. Miguel's pick is Anthony Bennett. Still 10 years from now, Bennett.
Anthony Bennett, no change. But anyway, I mean, for me, it is still Giannis. 'Cause most decorated player from this draft. The clear,
Yeah.
the clear number 1 pick or supposed number 1 pick to me or to a lot of people at least should have been Giannis. Number 2 makes sense for them to pick up Rudy Gobert as well because this is the post Dwight Howard era. After he moved
Yeah.
on to Lakers and then it didn't work out because he doesn't have the guts to hang with Kobe.
Yes.
Because
Yes.
it's too soft.
He's
Yes.
too soft to be with Kobe. Yeah, too soft to hang with Kobe.
Yeah.
So number 2. At number 3, Washington. Interestingly, they already have Wall. They had Wall and they had Beal, who he was coming into his second year at this time, but he was already showing, shades of that incredible offense that that we know him for today. So I feel like they also need a big man, and this is where I'm also going to put. I don't know. I want to say Steven Adams just because he was a very solid guy. So yeah, let's say Steven Adams at the 3. So I think that would have worked well for Washington because I think they struggled
Yeah.
with finding like a
Yeah.
solid big to pair with
Yeah.
their
Goodbye,
dynamic
Marcin
backcourt.
Gortat, though.
Yeah, Marcin Gord, the Polish hammer. who
Yeah.
had one of the funniest like low light collections ever. It's Marcin Gortat. I don't know if you ever seen all his
I
like
Oh, you
have.
should watch
I
it.
his
have.
blooper reel is incredible. Um, Charlotte, I think they would suffer on defense, but they would have a dynamic backcourt if they would have paired Kemba Walker with CJ McCollum. So that
Oh,
would have been incredible. For Phoenix, because I'm a Spurs fan and I think they suck, they should pick Anthony Bennett. But anyway, no, I'm kidding.
oh wow, oh
So many with the Bennett.
wow. I
I'm
have
kidding. I'm
nothing.
kidding.
I've done nothing but praise the organization, the Spurs organization, and this is the thanks I get.
I'm kidding.
Catch
I'm kidding, man.
it.
I'm kidding. Here's the thing. At that time, I think Phoenix didn't have a clear direction.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was
It's
hard to
hard
admit.
to
To
pick because
it was actually hard to admit to the public that I was a Suns fan at the time, because like, what? That's a team?
oh
Yeah,
yeah, man.
they were like,
That team needed like offense and they just needed a guy who would be like their number one option. And I felt like Tim Hardaway Jr. is one of the guys who he
that's
doesn't get. I don't know. He doesn't get a lot of praise just because he's a low efficiency guy,
He's
volume
gonna shoot
shooter.
5 for 20.
Yeah, he's gonna shoot terribly. But at the time when he was maybe with his first 2 years in the league, it looked like he was going to be an
yeah.
offensive superstar. And
I
I
thought it
feel
was
like
gonna be great.
yeah, I feel like he's going to be great. But at the same time, I also want to say Victor Oladipo for the Suns because Oladipo
Yeah,
was, of course, he turned out it turned out great. It's just the injuries that held him back. Great two-way guy. So yeah, I'll say Oladipo over over Hardaway Jr. It's just
Yeah.
you know. So yeah, that's my
that's
five.
good.
That's the first five picks of the 2013 NBA draft. If it were up to me,
That's great. So, honorable mentions for me would be Mason Plumlee, Plum Dog Millionaire. That's one of my favorite players. If you
Plum
Oh,
Dog
see his
Millionaire.
Millionaire.
highlights,
I've never
dude,
heard
you'd
that.
think he was a star. Oh, that's his nickname, Plum Dog Millionaire.
Some Doug
Um,
here.
Impressive. Like he as a big man, he's got one of the best handles. And if
Kala
you
was there
watch his
too.
highlights, amazing, amazing. Anyways, season 2, episode 9. It's great to have all of us again
yeah,
back here, back at it, arguing whatever. And since it's the off season, we might be slow in uploading content, but once the season picks up, we'll try and get as much as as many episodes as possible as we can.
No more football
Because of
content,
course we
please.
still need rest.
Baseball next week.
baseball.
Yeah.
Oh no,
I'm out.
I
I'm
know.
out.
I
I'm
know
out.
one guy. I know one guy from baseball. I know Shohei Otani. That's it.
it.
I know
Ah.
that one dude.
I'm out.
He's leaving.
Who else?
Yeah, he's leaving apparently.
Baseball next week.
No,
Baseball
no.
work.
I
Oh,
like the
no.
caps. I like the caps. That's it.
Yeah, the baseball caps are nice.
I'm good with the caps,
yeah.
man.
Hockey or hockey? Ice hockey.
Oh, dude.
I know
I've
nothing
always
about
wanted-
hockey.
I've always wanted to learn hockey, but it's more in the
Yes.
Philippines. Where
Yeah.
would I skate? Where would I learn
Yeah.
the skills for
Oh
hockey?
no! You know what? Since we're in the topic, we do have our own variation of hockey. It's called floorball. So instead of skating, you actually run
oh.
around a rink, and then you still use a hockey stick, but instead of a puck, it's a small ball. So fun fact:
Oh.
my
So it's
my
bouncier.
uncle is actually the president of the floorball association here,
Ooh.
and we
Ooh.
are competing
Ooh,
internationally.
nice.
So yeah, that was a cheap
Nice,
ass
nice.
plug, but there you go.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
I'm
It
gonna
is- it's
try
not a
out
cheap
if,
ass plug.
if my knees weren't like already killing me. So I got fractured like 2 months back from hiking.
Oh
Just
man.
sort of crumpled on the ground.
I,
My knee got
He's like
fractured,
the
but
dumbest
if
hiker
my
ever.
knee,
I
if
never.
my knees weren't fractured, I would definitely love to play something like
Yeah.
that.
I'm
man.
never hiking. I'm never hiking.
Well, just you can hike. You just don't do what Miguel did, was jump off of a ravine or whatever, and then land knee
It was
first.
like 3 feet or 4 feet high. It wasn't
Yeah.
that high, but I jumped and my knees just
They
just
just gave
gave
out.
way. They just crumbled. Yeah, that was
Dude, I feel so bad for you.
crazy.
That's like the funniest memory of this year because I was like writing something on my notebook and then I heard a jump and then a, a moan is oh, and I
And
looked back
I
and
had to I had to drive my motorcycle
Oh my
again
god,
afterwards.
that's so
So
bad.
his
I
leg
couldn't
is
step
extended.
on the rear brake. I couldn't step on my rear brake at all, and I couldn't even put my leg or my foot up on the foot peg. My leg was
Yeah.
just straight, and at times I would forget that I couldn't raise my leg, so my foot would scrape
Oh,
the concrete.
oh,
I was like, "Oh
Oh
crap!"
oh,
man.
I was like, "I can't fall again."
bro. It's too graphic, man.
So
Oh shit.
le- yeah. So lesson learned, kids.
Don't
Do
jump.
not jump off of a ravine if you don't know
When you're
what's in
hiking,
there.
don't do
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
Well, yeah,
Don't
yeah.
do
I was
that.
Why
confident
didn't you
because I
jump?
was fairly. I don't know, man. I was fairly athletic
Yeah,
prior to this injury.
Less.
I was fairly
yeah. I
athletic.
believe that.
But
But wow.
I already suffered from a lot of ankle stuff. I had ankle
Uh,
therapy in high
Okay.
school, and then again in college, and then I just couldn't play the same way, or I wasn't just as athletic as I used to be when the time went heck. But I was like, you know what? I'd probably survive. I'd be okay. I did survive, but my knees just gave out from under me.
Ah, please. Ah. Oh no.
Yeah. And the funny thing is, when I fell, both my both my knees and both ankles were hurting, and I didn't know which one hurt. And Rain was standing there. It was like, bro, I don't know what hurts. If is it my knee or my ankle? I was just laying there on the ground. It was like
Uh,
everything below my knees hurts. I didn't know which one to like complain about. I didn't know which one to touch. I didn't know which one to apply pressure to because everything hurt.
oh
So
no.
it was
But
crazy.
you know the Family Guy, when Peter Griffin tripped and he was just making the one sound.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
well, at least we know one thing: you can't be a WWE superstar. That's for sure.
No,
No, man.
not at all.
That's a
Which
fact.
sucks.
That's a
I've
fact.
always wanted to do that as well. It was like I want to be the next Shawn Michaels.
Yeah,
Like,
no,
it's
that's
never
not
gonna
happening,
happen
bro.
for me.
Never. Never.
Uh,
Anyways, episode 9, it's been a blast with you guys. And guys, be sure to follow us on all social media platforms.
Yeah.
Twitter,
Yeah.
Facebook.
X.
Well, it's not Twitter
Twitter,
anymore,
it's
it's X
X.
now. Yeah, it's X.
Yeah,
I just don't like calling it X, but yeah.
It's
That
porn.
website.
So bizarre.
It's so
It
bizarre.
sounds like you're trying to endorse something dirty,
Dirty,
when it's not.
right?
Like,
Right?
Yeah.
follow me on
Have you
X.
seen these-
Dirty
have you seen-
Stevie, will you follow me on X?
Have you seen these pics on X?
Oh god.
So yeah, anyways, I was plugging the show, guys. Facebook, X, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, Spotify as well. Follow us there. Because this will be on Spotify. So I don't know if not on Facebook. I don't know how else you'll listen to it. Please show support because that would be very helpful for us, the four of us. And till next time, see you later, Gators. Peace.
Later. Go 49ers. Bye.